Losses. We all face them, whether it's in trading, in sports, in life, and even in our walk with God. But here's the truth. The best loser actually wins. And today we're going to see what Proverbs 19 has to say about this. And as you guys can see, this today's date from Proverbs chapter 19 is what I went over today. And it talks about, how helping the poor is lending to the Lord, and everything that you lend to the poor or you give to the poor and aka lend to the Lord, he will repay you back. And it also says right here, that it's better to be poor than be a liar, and wealth obtained by dishonesty is temporary and it won't save you from harm. And basically this just means, honesty over quick gains. And another one that I want to point out right here is to obtain wisdom is self-love because it helps one prosper by understanding. And another thing that goes with this one is liars will be destroyed, and it's the ninth commandment. I think it talks about this one in Exodus chapter 20 verse 16, I want to say. I'm pretty sure that's correct. And basically, wisdom comes from correction, wisdom comes from discipline, which goes along with this one right here. Discipline is a must for everybody, and especially children, because without it, one will fall into unwise choices leading to ruins. And yeah, basically this right here is talking about, kind of goes with this one. It's talking about following the commandments and you will live, and if you despise the commandments, you would die. And if any of you want to understand like a little bit about what'll happen to you if you disobey and despise the commandments and don't decide to follow them, I'll put a little, basically it's the chapter 28 of Deuteronomy, verses 15 through 68. It talks about everything that God will do to you, and you'll just have a very hard life if you don't follow the commandments. And okay, yeah, I wanted to turn the camera around so y'all could see my face and see me talking. But like I already said, it's better to be poor than to be a liar, because at least you're honest. It doesn't matter if because like obviously if you obtain money by dishonest methods, it's only going to be temporary. Everything's going to be taken away from us eventually anyways. All things come to an end, especially in death. You can't take any of that shit with you when you die. So why ruin your reputation and be a liar and put that on your conscience in the first place just for a little bit of money? Wouldn't you rather be honest? Wouldn't it feel better to be honest, even if you have less than somebody who has a bunch of money but they're liars? Because like it says right here that I just pointed out, liars will be destroyed, and it's one of the commandments, don't lie. And it also says right here that lying or despising and not following the commandments will lead you to a very hard life and a lot of hardship, and you will ultimately be destroyed anyways. So why go that route just for a little bit of money? You don't want to do that. It also talks about how wisdom doesn't just apply to faith. Wisdom applies to all things. It applies to trading, business, just overall everyday life. Just you want to learn wisdom. And another one that I don't think I pointed out, let me see where it's at. It says to obtain wisdom is self-love because it helps one prosper by understanding. I actually do think I did point that out. Right here, I did point it out. But basically what this means is that if you obtain wisdom, you're basically loving yourself and becoming wiser, and understanding will help you prosper. Let's think about it this way, right? If somebody wins a lottery ticket for $1 million and they don't have the wisdom and understanding to know how to budget it, spend it, invest it, they're going to blow it within a couple of years maximum. But if now somebody with understanding and wisdom wins $1 million, they can turn that million into 2, into 3, into 4, into 5, So wisdom, you want to obtain wisdom especially before materialistic items, and especially before wealth. Seek out the word of God, seek out wisdom, and apply that wisdom, which is also very important, and be disciplined as well, because discipline, like right here also wrote out, discipline is a must for everybody, even especially children, because without it, one will fall into unwise choices leading to ruin. And this is true, if you are not disciplined, you can make stupid choices, you can make poor choices, and ultimately these poor choices can lead you down to death, to jail, just to hardship, even if not one of those first two that I just said. overall it'll just lead you to ruin, and you don't want to be ruined. And then another thing that I want to talk about on today's video is losses. Losses are part of the game, whether it's trading, business, faith. We're all going to take losses eventually. And the person who can take the most losses and keep going versus the person who takes a couple losses and quits, I think it says, what is it? A Rocky movie that says it's not about how hard you can get hit, it's about how many hits you can take and keep going, or some shit along those lines. And that's so true, because basically if you fall down, like let's say you're learning to ride a bike, for example. Let's say you fall down, you get up, 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 and you keep trying. It doesn't matter how many times you fall down. Eventually you're going to learn how to ride that bike, and you're going to be able to ride that bike. Now, a different child, for example, or a different person, they're trying to learn how to ride a bike. They fall off, they get back up, learn how to continue trying to ride the bike. They fall down again, and then they give up. They really are the ones who failed because they gave up, versus the person who kept trying. They didn't fail because they didn't give up. So giving up ultimately is another thing that leads to failure. And I was listening to a video earlier, and it talks about, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I have it right here on the screen, like on my laptop. It talks about, Kobe Bryant. I don't know how many shots he's taken in his entire lifetime, but out of all the shots he's taken in his entire lifetime, he's missed over 14,000 shots in his entire career. And that was, to the bike example, right? That's 14,000 chances that he could have had to give up, but he didn't. And it's the same thing in trading. Every loss is a lesson, and you pay for that lesson, so you might as well use it, If you lose a little bit of money, but you learn something from it, then you basically paid to learn that lesson. It's the same thing as going to school. You paid to go to school, and you're learning knowledge, so you might as well use it. Back to the Bible study for today, Proverbs 19. Proverbs 19:20 says to listen to advice and accept discipline. And basically by doing this, you're accepting wisdom, and you're gaining understanding and insight that you can use in the future. And really, this is the secret, The best losers are the ones who ultimately win, because they don't give up. They keep losing until they win. They lose, they get a little bit better. They lose, they get a little bit better. Until they just keep losing, everybody's laughing at them, everybody's saying, haha, you can't do this, it's not working, until it works. And now everybody wants a handout, now everybody wants you to teach them how to do this thing, and, so this just goes to show that don't waste your pain, embrace the pain. The pain and the losses are teachers. It's teaching you something. Will you take that loss as a lesson, or will you quit? That's the question. What will you do? So anyways, let's just go ahead and continue moving along with this video. And basically, another thing that I want to say is most traders end up losing entire accounts because they can't take one little small loss. They lose big because they can't take a small loss. For example, me, with my trading strategy and my system, if I take 1 or 2 losses for the day, I'm done for the day, and I'm preserving capital, and I'm saving my capital for the next day, the next week, whatever it may be. I'm making sure that I stay in the game long term by learning how to accept small losses and walk away. And when I have 1 win for the day, I'm going to walk away with that as well, Take those losses, take those wins, and keep it pushing. And that's also another reason why it's important to have, risk management systems in place. And also, like my Bible notes said, you want to have discipline as well, because without it, you'll fall into unwise choices leading you to ruin. And by making poor choices and over leveraging or over trading, then I'll blow a whole account, and that'll lead me to ruin and having to start back over from, wherever I have to start back over from. And sometimes with going on tilt and revenge trading, it's our manly egotistical sides, or our prideful ways, that lead us into revenge trading or going on tilt. And what this one bad decision or one bad feeling or emotion leads to is us blowing the whole account. And that's why it's important to have systems in place. Once again, risk management, and also very important, emotional control and discipline. Like I was watching one of my mentor's videos earlier from the VIP lessons. He talks about this exact thing. Basically that, the charts are not just charts. Hold up, let me pull out my notes from that video, right? And I'll actually point some of these things out for y'all as well. So basically, as you can see, this is from the day. And what I was talking about, is what I was trying to say is that trading is much more than just the charts. It's a reflection of yourself. And basically, if you keep going right here, consistency beats luck. If you keep going and keep taking losses, but you keep trying, you're ultimately going to win in the long run. And also another thing is with discipline, if you keep making the same mistakes, the problem is you. It's not anything. You can't blame the markets. You can only blame you. And basically what I'm trying to say with this is that trading is much more than just charts. It's a reflection of self. So if you go on tilt and you can't manage your emotions, then you need to work on that. Once you have the system down, once you have the strategy down, once you know how to take trades and win trades, that's the easy part. The step two, the next thing that comes is your mindset. Because trading is mostly mindset. It's mostly psychology. What you want to do is get yourself and your mindset in check, because charts, that's the easy part, Whether you're staying in the trade, holding it to TP2, breaking even at TP1, holding it to TP3, getting out early, getting in early, it all shows things. It's a reflection of self. It can show things like, for example, you're not patient, you have no emotional control, you have no confidence in yourself if you're getting out of trades because it's coming down a little bit or going up a little bit. It can show you a lot of things. That's why it's important to journal your trades as well. And also another thing that Proverbs talks about is that it warns us and it tells us that ignoring correction can lead to ruin again. It's obviously keep repeating the same things over and over because sometimes you need to hear it multiple times for it to actually get drilled into your brain. So it does say that ignoring correction can lead to ruin. And another thing, to practice humility, whether it's in the charts, basically, and to have humility is to be able to take losses and accept the losses and not try and overtrade or revenge trade or go on tilt and blow the account. It basically means humility is one way of learning humility is to take your loss, take your 2 losses. Journal your trades even when you don't feel like it because it pissed you off. Journal those trades, go back and review them so you can see where you went wrong or what happened that made you, take those trades that ultimately led to a loss and learn something from them. Don't keep trying to push trades or force trades or chase the market. Just cut those losses, take those losses, and review everything that went wrong so you have a little bit of understanding and wisdom for the next time. And sometimes in life, losses might feel like the end, but the markets have been here before we have been born. The markets are going to be here after we die. So there's nothing wrong with taking losses. Take your losses and then learn how to accept them. Also trust God and trust that everything is working out for you the way it's supposed to be. Because there's a lot of times that I've looked back in my trading journey and it's like, damn, that was supposed to happen, this was supposed to happen. And basically this just means that, God's working everything together for the good of you and the good of I and for the good of his people because, he sees the bigger picture even when we cannot. His plan prevails over our plans. Even the setbacks are, they're tightly threaded and tightly woven into his plans. And so it's important that we learn to stay faithful even in the wins, even in the losses, even in the good days, and even in the bad days. Because ultimately we're being shaped and transformed into somebody that we're supposed to be, and that's why you want to learn how to make yourself become the best version of yourself as possible. You just want to be the best version of yourself as possible. This is important. So that's why it's important to keep showing up, keep working, keep reviewing, keep journaling, keep learning through the wins, through the bads, through the goods, through the losses. I know I said it a little backwards, but y'all get the point. And, ultimately with, let me see here. By gaining understanding and wisdom, you're basically learning how to handle the blessings when they finally come. Because if God knows that you can't handle a large amount of money, why would he give you a large amount of money? He's not. Instead, he's going to shape you into somebody who can handle that. Not even just money aspect. He's turning you into the person that can handle the blessings. So when they come, you know how to handle them. So once again, just to end the video off, try your best to be the best loser. And let God use you and use every one of your losses and every one of your failures as a way of building you up and teaching you how to grow your understanding and grow your wisdom and also grow your discipline and humility. And another thing from the very beginning of the video that I want to talk about is just make sure y'all are doing what's right no matter
what's happening to you, no matter how people do you. Make sure you're doing what's right and make sure you're staying honest. Whether, trust in God, trust in Jesus Christ, trust in the process, and know that none of your losses are wasted. They're all a price that you have to pay, and they're all lessons. So you might as well pay a little bit of money, like whether it's through a loss, to learn a lesson. Because think about all the people that have to go to college. They paid all this money to go to college, and they're just paying to learn things. So why not? And they go to college for years and years and years. So why not take losses in the markets for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years to learn some lessons? Cause it'll make you come out a better person in the end. So, well, that's another point I want to talk on, is just learn how to enjoy the process and don't compare yourself to anybody else. Don't compare your journey to anybody else's, because some people might become profitable in less than a year, which is highly unlikely. Some people might take 2 or 3 years, and there's other people that might take 4 or 5 years to become profitable. Like, I know people who are profitable after like 1-2 years, and I know a couple other people that are still not profitable after 4 or 5 years. So don't compare yourself to anybody. Comparison is the thief of joy. You need to learn how to enjoy the process. And to end the video off, I just want to ask you, if this message is something that you liked, is something that resonated with you, make sure y'all like and comment. That way we can be able to share these words and this insight with other people that are ready to give up after a loss, or after a couple of losses, or they go on tilt, or they go on revenge trade-in mode, or just whatever it may be. Let's try and share this word so that we can all grow as brothers and sisters in Christ, and we can all grow in our own understanding, and as students and as lowly servants of the Lord, which is ultimately what I am. I'm no better than you. You're no better than me. We should all think of ourselves as less than, think of yourself as less than, so that way you can remain humble. Keep working, do your best, and let the results be taken care of by God, because everything is ultimately God's decision, and He'll make things happen or not happen for you. So just keep working, keep doing your best, and keep staying and doing what's right, whether it's in the word, in trading, or in life. But God bless you all. Hope y'all have a great day. And yeah, this is where I'm gonna cut the video. See y'all on the next one.